Alright guys, Jay's Rides here, and coming to you in response to Piston Rod's videos. And he put up actually responded to a challenge of 10 things that he hates about his motorcycle. And seeing as him and I have the same bike, I think even down to the year, I'm going to go over and see if I can't get some new things on this bike that I dislike as well. So first off, when he mentioned as far as the front suspension, yeah, I got the same issue. It's very spongy. I'm actually thinking the next time I got to do anything with the front forks, I'm going to get some progressive suspension with some stiffer springs in there. Probably go with thicker oil as well. But one of the things that I actually dislike the most about this bike is that it's the N model, not the S model. I mean, I love the looks of this bike, don't get me wrong, but I need a fairing. You know, it's so windy that without a windscreen here, I mean, obviously in any of my videos where I go over 55, 60 miles an hour, you get horrible wind noise. And I mean, I know it's bad on video, but it's worse in the helmet. So freeway rides are not that fun. Now, another thing I dislike about this bike, which you'll actually see in my video about replacing the handlebars, is that you really can't replace the handlebars with anything other than exactly the same shape and size of what you have, unless you get modified cables, including the hydraulic brake plate cable. Because I tried to put a handlebar on that was a little bit wider and sat a little further back, and all these cables were stretched out. The hell? That sucks. Big time. You guys alright? Alright, man. Now, I'm not sure how much this is going to count, but a few other things that I hated that actually changed were the Mickey Mouse ears. Those were really ridiculous. Very annoying. So I got rid of those as soon as I could and got the bar end mirrors on instead. I love these. I will also have to agree with Piston Rods that the low end of this bike is the only good end of the bike. If you try to get up in the higher RPMs, it's almost useless. Staying lower in the RPMs is where all your power is. So, I mean, yeah, it's nice, but I would love to be able to just wind this thing up and get a lot more power out of that top end. But I know I'm going to have to completely change bikes in order to make that happen. If I'm not careful, I'm going to turn this video into the things I love about this bike. Anyways, another large complaint that I have about this bike is, in fact, the kickstand. Because it does sit in a very weird position, and mine actually got so worn out that it was leaning over further than Piston Rod's bike was. So I ended up having to find a used one on eBay. It was like 15 bucks, but it still sucked that I had to buy one just to get it to sit back to where Piston Rod's was. So yeah, it leaned really far, and an issue that I'm running into a lot is that the tension springs to keep it up don't do their job. Now, this bike is set up with two springs, a smaller inner one and a larger outer one. And I ended up having to take the larger outer one and rebend the tip so that it was shorter in order to hold the kickstand up. Because as you can see in my dual vlog, my first dual vlog with Desert Ninja, my bike was dying randomly. And I couldn't figure out what the hell it was. And it would die, and then a few seconds later turn back on with a loud pop. So I finally figured out it was the freaking kickstand. It was not being held up properly and was falling down just far enough that the sensor was no longer reading that it was up. so it would kill the bike, and then it would pop back into place a little bit and start the bike again. So really obnoxious, can't stand that. I finally fixed it, but really annoying. Oh yeah, we're doing this in a dual turn. Come on, Light. Yeah. Wow, guy. Another thing that I dislike is the clutch on this bike is very temperamental. I actually have to adjust the push rod on this clutch a lot. Otherwise, it'll start slipping on me. And I mean somewhere around 15 to 20,000 miles, I have to adjust the push rod. Alright, the seat. Now the back seat comes off just fine, but the front seat, you have to literally remove 2 side pieces of plastic and then 2 bolts holding the seat down. That's really annoying. Desert Ninja has a Ninja 650 2013, and all he has to do is remove his rear seat and pop his front seat up and pull it out. That's awesome. Real easy to do it that way, but I can't stand that I have to go through so much work to get the front seat off on this, especially if I need to work on the battery. You know, another thing I actually don't like about this bike is the fact that it's carbureted. That means I gotta wait for it to warm up and mess with the choke, which means it idles at high speeds until I adjust the choke again. So I would definitely love a fuel-injected bike instead. So another thing I gotta agree with piston rods on is that this bike doesn't come with a fuel gauge at all. You get a fuel light, and for most people with these older first-gen SV650s will know, that's if it works. Yeah, I'm going. Because mine doesn't. I actually, as you can see, am having to count my miles. I also thoroughly dislike the fact that I don't have emergency flashers on this bike. I've actually come into a few situations where I could have used them. All I had was a turn signal, and they don't stay on when you don't have the keys in the on position, so that's not too helpful. Also, my high beam switch. That's kind of in a, well, stupid place. I like how the later ones, all you have to do is pull it with your finger instead of flip the rocker switch. Now I'm going to end this by saying I think I have the perfect solution, which is, I'm not sure if any of you other SV riders out there know this, but Suzuki is bringing back the SV650 for 2017. And it looks super sexy. Awesome bike. It comes with a start assist system, so you don't have to sit there and crank it until it starts. Fuel injection, a little more horsepower, custom made tube chassis, and all kinds of other goodies. Really awesome. So I'm super excited for it and would definitely love to trade up for that bike. So anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed my 10 things I dislike about my bike. I hope that was 10. And we'll talk to you guys later.